This one.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Gift of Health Wellness Chat. We are so glad to be joining you. Today, we're going to be discussing a very important topic. There are lots and lots of myths around nutrition, and we'll be busting some of the nutritional myths and like sharing a lot of tips about how to clear the confusion around food and make a good choice around food. So let us know where you're joining us from. Like we are joining from Burin, Newfoundland. For those of you who are seeing us for the first time, I'm Dr. Arjun Rayapudi, and this is my lovely wife, Dr. Shobha Rayapudi. We're both lifestyle medicine doctors and co-founders of Gift of Health, where we're showing people how to live a healthy, disease-free life by simply making simple yet very powerful diet and lifestyle measures. So this March is the nutrition month, right? Like National Nutrition Month, and in honor of Nutrition Month, we decided to mainly focus on busting some of the common nutritional myths, because when it comes to nutrition, there is a lot of confusion out there, and some people wonder, like, where do I even start?
Mm-hmm.
So Shobha, like, what should we be eating? What is the best food for the human body?
Yeah. See, like when we think in terms of food, we talk as if we are eating just one thing. But like when we see like what we are doing, we don't eat one thing. Like, do you see like we like in a day, like if you just observe like what you're eating a lot of different things. It's just like opening a locker. So let's say if you have a code for a locker, if you have a 4-digit PIN to open your locker, you need all those 4 numbers to open your locker. It will be very foolish of us thinking which number is important for the locker. It needs all the 4 numbers. So similarly in food, it's not about just single food. And even when we tend to ask questions or think, we just think, okay, is this particular food good for us? Or is it okay to eat this? Is it okay? Like, like, what is like one food that I can eat to get rid of my cholesterol? Or what is that one food that I can eat to get rid of my disease? So do you see, like we fall into the trap of just picking out one single food, and we talk in terms of nutrients. Like if I want this particular nutrient, what is the food I need to eat so that I can get more of? So when we eat, we don't eat single food. Similarly, when you do studies, you cannot do studies on single food, because when you look at humans, they just don't eat. So let's say even if we, that's where the confusion comes from, because we try to look for studies that tend to see like if one food or just like one group of food is better than other group. But you won't find studies like that, because that is not what is happening in reality. That's why when it comes to the nutrition or diet, well, it's very easy to be confused. Many people will be saying, okay, maybe eat this way of eating is better than that. That's why you would say, okay, that's why there are so many diets out there. If you can see, okay, some might be saying, okay, maybe keto is good, maybe paleo is good, or some might be saying just eat for your blood type. So like there are so many things that are thrown outside. But if you can keep in mind that it is a group of foods that we eat, so the question we should be asking is what group of foods is best for me? because no matter whatever study you pick, it has been shown consistently, the more natural foods that you eat, the foods that are closer in nature, the more plants you eat, no matter whatever studies you pick, it like it consistently shows that the more plant-based foods or more natural foods that you include in your diet, it is a huge win, like whether it in terms of health, whether in terms of planet, whether in terms of anything. So that is the key.
So in summary, you're saying basically we should be eating more and more plant-based foods.
Yeah, again, here we also fall into the trap, saying that, okay, so I know since you guys are plant-based doctors, maybe you might be just talking about or recommending that maybe you should be eating more plant-based diets. So
the more plant-based overall your foods are, the better. That's what the studies are showing, right? Like we should be moving more and more towards including more plant-based foods.
So let me ask you this. Why are you eating food?
For energy.
Okay, so then we should be asking which foods give me more energy. Does it make sense? Okay, so let's say if you're saying that if you're eating food for energy, but how many of us eat food thinking that we are eating for energy? Do you eat foods that in front of you, or do you just even give a thought that maybe I want to eat foods that give me more energy? How many of us, like, just let us know in the chat, like how many of us eat food thinking that maybe it's going to give me the highest energy for the whole day? Because even if we ask that question, we are in a winning situation, because even if we ask ourselves, why am I eating the food for?
Yeah, so basically you're asking, like, why do you eat food? Because most of the time we don't stop and ask, like, why am I eating? Most of the people, we are on like a seafood diet. You see the food and you eat it, and then you just there's not much thought involved. Here, as we see, look at the chat, like Dennis is saying that my life insurance went down from eating this way. She's pointing to eating more plant-based, and she's talking about, like, having better skin. She's saving more money. Amazing.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so
Yeah.
even like I see in the comment, we should eat when we are truly hungry.
Hunger guiding the food intake.
Yes.
Yeah, when you ask, like, what we should be eat more of, Dennis was saying greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, and nuts, all good foods. Hi Khani, good to see you. Good to see you, Dennis. Hi Marianne. Hi Paula. Excellent. Like, we're so glad that you're all here. Hi Geraldine. Geraldine is saying, like, my daughter is plant-based for 4 years, 100% better. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, like the more the more conscious of, like, why we eat, and are we eating for energy, are we focusing on, like, am I hungry, then just the thought itself, like, you might make a better choice.
Yes. And we all want to be productive, no doubt about it, right? Like we want to eat the foods that keep us full for longer. Do you guys agree that we want to eat food that keep us full longer, and that is more satiating, that we can enjoy, that is good in taste, and that boosts up the energy, that provides us all vital nutrients that we need, that provides all vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals that can protect us from diseases? So let us know if these are the kind of goals that you're looking for. So then the question comes, like, what can we eat to achieve these goals? So, like, what food can I eat that can actually keep me full for longer? What foods can I eat which I can eat more and way less? What foods can I eat that where I'm not worried about weight gain? What foods can I eat that can prevent me from heart disease, diabetes? What foods can I eat that can actually protect me from cancer? So when you ask these questions, which food or which food groups do you think can actually meet these goals?
So you're saying more fruits, more vegetables, more whole grains, more beans. Dennis is saying herbs and spices are plant foods too, more healing for the body. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
More herbs and spices are showing up to be decreasing inflammation. So those
Mm-hmm.
are good additions.
Yes. So yeah, even Denny says, Dr. Furman changed my life in August 2011. So glad we have Canadian doctors. So yeah. And like Dr. Joel Furman has an excellent book called Eat to Live. And that is one of my favorite books too. Even when I read that book, it was quite fascinating. Like it's for those of you who haven't heard of that book or haven't read it, make sure you read that book. That's an excellent book, Eat to Live. So again, we definitely want more nutrients, right? Like when we think in terms of money, when we think in terms of any other areas of life, we always want more. We want to be richer. But when it comes to food, I wish we all can think in terms of we want to be richer in food. We want to be rich in nutrients. It's not about eating less. It's about eating more nutrients, eating like having more nutrients. But unfortunately, when we see the foods in front of us, the foods that are present in the environment, the foods that are very easy to grab, or the foods that are sitting on the shelves of our store, unfortunately, they are not rich in nutrients. They are rich in calories, but they're not rich in nutrients. So we always want to pick what is rich in nutrients. So do you all agree? So maybe as we said, like March is the nutritional month. Maybe if we can be aware and if we can take this single step where we can say to ourselves, I'm going to eat rich. I'm going to eat foods that are rich in nutrients. That one step goes a long way.
And then the question comes, which foods or which food groups have the highest amount of nutrients? And at the same time, like one is having more nutrients and also keeping you full for longer, right? Because one issue is satiety. Like satiety is like what can keep you full for longer will satisfy you more. So when you look at that, like when you ask this question, like in which foods keep me full for longer and which foods have the most nutrients, you come to the same conclusion, is like the more plant-based foods you eat, the more beans and whole grains and fruits and vegetables you eat, the more fiber you get. Because if you want to be if you want to feel full for longer, and also if you want to eat more and weigh less, fiber is your friend. Research shows that when you increase your fiber intake, like for every 14 grams of fiber, for every 14 grams of fiber, fiber-rich foods you take on a daily basis, you end up eating 200 calories less. What that means is, without even trying, you lose like on average 2 pounds per month when you eat like a fiber-rich food.
Okay. So when it comes, so which foods do you think have fiber and which foods do not have any fiber? So maybe let us start with which foods do you think have zero fiber? Can anybody guess which foods do you think has zero fiber?
Very common foods. Many people think these foods are healthy for you. Any guesses?
chips and junk food.
Yeah, chips and junk food, these don't have
minimal fiber. They don't have much fiber, but there is one food group that has no fiber, like zero fiber. Okay, Paula says lettuce.
Lettuce has some fiber.
Can you guess one food group that has zero fiber?
So dairy products have no fiber. When you talk about like cheese, butter, yogurt, sour cream, or ice creams, like anything that comes from cow's milk has no fiber.
Okay,
Agneta saying animal-based, yes. Animal-based foods. Like when you say chicken, like many people consider chicken is a healthy food, but chicken has a lot of health concerns. Like chicken has
yeah, like even coming to health concerns, because I know like a lot of people are wondering, oh my God, like yeah, when it comes to fiber, any food that is coming from animals has no fiber. So any food, it can be either animal meat, it can be dairy products, anything that is coming from animal has zero fiber. So take anything, chicken, fish, poultry, eggs, butter, dairy, milk, none of this have fiber.
On the other hand, these particular foods that Shobha mentioned, the dairy products and eggs and meats, they also have a lot of saturated fat. Saturated fat is a type of fat which increases inflammation in the blood vessels. These foods also have more amount of animal protein. Many people don't realize that animal protein is showing up to be inflammatory. The more animal protein you take, there is more inflammation. The more animal protein you take, there is more increased cell growth, which is like if the cells are growing at a rapid rate, that means there is increased risk of cancers. So more heart disease, more inflammation, more cancer risk. This is the problem that we are dealing with, like especially during this month, like March, National Nutrition Month. You might be seeing messages about like eating healthier. And one of our friend, Dr. Pamela, she did a blog the other day. She's a dietitian. We actually interviewed her on one of our Gift of Health wellness chats. Like she did a blog on how the messages from the dietitians of registered dietitians of Canada, like how the messages that are coming from that group of dietitians is actually, it may be a little bit skewed because the sponsors of that message are like 5 or 6 dairy food group, dairy industry. So they received, they released a booklet to help you to eat better. And that booklet has like 15 recipes. And out of those 15 recipes, I think at least 11 of them had some kind of dairy products in it. Whereas Health Canada, when Health Canada did the Canada Food Guide, they actually took the dairy out of food groups. Like dairy is not a food group anymore on the Health Canada or Canada Food Guide. And the other thing is they even like if even have taken the meat as a food group out, and they just put protein. And when they in the protein area, they specify choose plant-based protein more often. Right. So the key message is eating more fruits, eating more vegetables, more whole grains and beans. And even when it comes to protein, choose plant-based protein, not just for your health, it also for the health of the planet. It's and more environmental reasons, ethical reasons. There are many reasons. Like we can keep going on.
Yeah. Like one simple question to ask is, where do you think the nutrients come from? Like, who do you think produces the nutrients, or where do the nutrients come from? Because we have been so brainwashed thinking that certain foods have certain nutrients. For example, when we think of protein, what do we think? As if animals have more protein, meat has more protein. That's what we come to think of. But in reality, in nature, where do you think the nutrients are produced? So maybe let us start with protein. Which um, which thing has the capacity to produce protein? Like if you look at protein, protein is nothing but the chain of amino acids. And there is only one thing in this planet that can actually produce amino acids. Can you guess which one is that? Only plants have the capacity to take the sunlight, use the chlorophyll to produce those amino acids. And these amino acids get together to form proteins. So plants are the only things that are actually capable of producing these amino acids. Animals eat the plants to get this protein and amino acids. And we are eating the animals to get the protein. So if you really look, if you really look in nature, the protein is actually coming from the plants. Take any mineral, whether it is calcium or any, like nowadays we are so crazy about, okay, like maybe if I'm getting my magnesium, potassium, calcium. So like all these minerals, where are they present? They are present in the soil. So the plants absorb through their roots, they absorb the minerals, and animals eat the plants to get those minerals. So if we get it directly from the source, we don't have to go for animal-based foods. And
so
again,
you can basically simply cut the middleman out. The animals that we are eating, either the chicken or the pig or the turkey or the cow or the fish, these are middlemen. They're taking the nutrients from the plants, and we don't have to basically go through them. We can just directly get it from the plants. So let's take some questions, like any questions that you have. And we see some comments there from Denise, and excellent, keep it going. Okay, so here are some of the questions. Like one question is, why should I eat a high fiber diet? Simply put, like, if you want to improve your health, a high fiber diet will help. The more research shows that the more fiber you have in your food, like for every 10 grams of increase in fiber, you cut down the risk of your getting stroke by 7%. For every 10 grams of increase of fiber per day, you cut down the risk of getting breast cancer by 7%. As we just shared, if you increase the fiber intake, you feel full for longer. You can eat more and weigh less, and you actually, it helps you lose weight. Fiber lowers your cholesterol. It decreases the risk of heart disease, decreases the risk of diabetes, and even your gut health is like your gut heals so well because the fiber in the food, it's not digested by your enzymes. It's actually that we have trillions of gut bacteria. The microbiome, it digests the fiber and it releases something called propionate and butyrate. These are very healing to the healing and nourishing to your bowel wall. So your bowel wall, like the colon health, depends upon this propionate and butyrate, which is mainly coming from fiber. So anytime you can eat more beans, more lentils, more whole grains and fruits and vegetables, chia seeds, flax seeds, just go for it.
Yeah. So the more we feed our gut bacteria, the more we get actually. Because if you really look at our composition, the gut bacteria is more, like the percentage of gut bacteria cells is more than our own cells. So, and when it comes to food, it's not only about eating the food, we also want to extract the nutrients from the food. So actually our gut bacteria, they extract the nutrients for us and they give it back to us. So that's why fiber is the food for that gut bacteria.
So Geraldine is asking, should you take enzymes? There is no need to take enzymes because all the enzymes that you need, like our stomach makes some enzymes, and our small intestines, they release some enzymes, and the pancreas releases some enzymes. All these things, they help in the digestion. So you don't need to take any enzymes from outside. Only people like who might benefit from taking enzymes are people who have chronic pancreatitis, and they have damaged their pancreas and for some reason, those people might need some enzyme support. But otherwise, if you're eating fresh foods like the whole natural plant-based foods, you don't need to take any enzymes. Uh, this one, I eat plant-based, but I only eat 2 meals a day. What should I eat for breakfast to get the most nutrition? First of all, congratulations. Like, if you're able to train yourself to stick with 2 meals a day, that means like you're following the principles of intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting has shown to give you a lot of health benefits. So kudos for that. So you are asking like, what should I eat for breakfast to get most nutrition? Like, we can give you an example of what we eat. Maybe you'll get an idea with that. Like, we follow a simple system of like choosing a grain. We mostly choose like a cooked steel cut oats, and then we add chia seeds and flax seeds. Like, we make a bowl of oatmeal. So cooked steel cut oats, chia seeds, flax seeds in it, at least 2 or 3 different types of fruit, either bananas or bosch pear or apple. Today, Shobha made a bowl. Like, there was kiwi in it, there was cut strawberries in it, there were oranges in it, apple and pear. Like, we took a picture of it, and it was so beautiful and colorful. And as we shared, like as we said, like chia seeds, flax seeds, some either oats, or you could use quinoa, or you could use brown rice, any grain, and then add these fruits. And if you're adventurous, like, this is something that we share with our advanced Gift of Health family members, like, who have been on this path for a long time. You can even throw in some greens as well. Like, sometimes we make like a green smoothie to make it as a base for that oatmeal. Otherwise, you could just use either soy milk or almond milk unsweetened to make a big bowl. And if you're not satisfied with like one bowl, go for the second bowl.
So the next question is, what happens if we just eat vegetables? And if no fruit, no grain, no meat, and no fat is eaten? So what if I just eat vegetables?
See, the thing is, if you just eat vegetables, you may not get all the calories that you need. Like, this is a question that we were asking in the beginning. Like, why do you eat? You eat for energy.
And just on that note, as I was mentioning, like, if we need 4 numbers to open the locker, so let's say if you just eat one group and if you're not eating others, we are not getting the whole spectrum of nutrients. So like, when you're avoiding grains, you won't be getting much B vitamins. So when it comes to grains, they are rich in B vitamins. Similarly, there are certain minerals and phytochemicals that you may not be getting. So let's say if you avoid fruits, again, there are some phytochemicals present in the fruit that we will be missing out if we are not eating fruits. And beans. So let's say if you're not eating beans, legumes.
So beans, like, if you look at beans, when you study the populations that live the longest across the world, like, these are called blue zones, where people typically live up to 90 years, 100 years. There are 5 zones that are recognized as blue zones. And what is common to these people living up to 90 and 100 years is their food is heavily plant-based. And one food group that they were eating on a daily basis was beans, some kind of beans, either kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, lentils. So beans add to longevity. Beans have a lot of important phytonutrients. Beans are a great source of fiber. So you're going to be missing out on quite a bit. Like, if you're not including, what you want is balance. Like, have some whole grains, have some beans, and lots of vegetables. Vegetables, definitely starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes, squash, corn, potatoes, and then non-starchy vegetables like peppers, tomatoes, green leafy vegetables, all kinds of greens, like spinach, kale, like Swiss chard, collard greens, any kind of greens. So you want different kinds of vegetables. Along with that, few beans, few whole grains, and fruits, and also include some seeds like chia seeds or flax seeds.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like when we are including everything, your satiety is also full. When you just depend on vegetables, what you will notice is maybe every 2 to 3 hours you're hungry again. When you
Especially if you stick with the non-starch vegetables, like if you eat potatoes and sweet potatoes, then they may be a little bit more satiating. But if you just stick with non-starchy vegetables like peppers or tomatoes or carrots and like zucchini, cucumbers, these don't have much starch. As Shobha was saying, like you'd be hungry so fast.
Okay, Geraldine is asking, I worry about the chemicals that are sprayed on our vegetables.
And you can't always get organic fruits and vegetables in Newfoundland. That is so true, Geraldine. Like, we in Newfoundland, there are a lot of issues around food security. We were looking at the most recent report of Health Accord. Health Accord report. This was done, put together by a group of researchers regarding how we are doing health-wise in Newfoundland and what is the plan for next 5 years, 10 years, how to improve the health of people like in Newfoundland, the health outcomes. And one thing that they talked and again in that report was one of the main issue that we have in Newfoundland is food insecurity. That like of all the 10 provinces in Canada, Newfoundland imports most of the food from outside. And of all the cities in the entire Canada, St. John's has the least amount of food security. That is like basically, most of the food that we are eating in Newfoundland is actually being imported. So if something were to happen, like some instability might happen, and if we can't get food from outside, we'll be at a major risk. So that is something that we really want to worry about and start. This is something that we could do as a province-wise, is to invest in how we could grow more food locally here. To answer, coming back to your question, worrying about the chemicals that are sprayed on a vegetation. The thing is, there is a research done on it. So when we talk about fruits and vegetables, these have a lot of phytochemicals and antioxidants. And so far, we only know few thousands of these antioxidants and phytochemicals that are beneficial to us. But there are researchers predict there are hundreds and thousands of these phytochemicals and antioxidants that are present in plants that we, the humankind, we don't even know about. So there are lots and lots of phytochemicals and antioxidants that are coming from these plants. Now, okay, even if you spray something to keep the pesticides down, research shows that eating these conventionally grown, if organic is available, go for it. But eating conventionally grown, like regularly grown fruits and vegetables, these are also health supporting, health promoting, and they're shown to decrease the risk of chronic disease. So even when you're worried about the pesticides and the chemicals that are being used in growing these fruits and vegetables, it is still better to eat them than to avoid them. If you're really worried about these pesticides and chemicals and pollutants, what you want to avoid, the first things that you want to avoid are the meats, because the meats and the dairy products, what happens is when you grow them on this pesticide-laden crops, whether it is wheat or soy, what happens is these chemicals, they kind of concentrate as we go high up on the food chain. That process is called biomagnification. So when you eat the plants, they are lower on the food chain, so they have lesser concentration of these pesticides. Whereas when you eat high up on the food chain, like the animal-based foods, you're getting more concentrated chemicals, like the pesticides that that's another reason to avoid these animal-based foods.
Okay. So Saibal is asking, what can I gain from taking flax seeds and chia seeds?
a lot. Chia seeds and flax seeds, I would say that you're getting the most bang for your buck. Like flax seeds, especially, they're so cheap. Like a pound of flax seeds is just $2 at no fuss. And like when you just add a tablespoon of flaxseed, you're getting almost your daily requirement of omega-3. So we suggest you take at least two like tablespoons of either chia seeds or flax seeds, or if you want to mix one and one, like 1 tablespoon of flaxseed, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, that's all fine. These foods have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids, these decrease inflammation. So you have two kinds of fatty acids, like when it comes to omegas, like there are lots of kinds actually, but one, you might have heard omega-6 fatty acids, and you might have heard like omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids, they decrease inflammation. Omega-6 fatty acids, they tend to increase inflammation. So you want to go for the foods that have a balance, like the ideal balance, the ratio, you want the omega-6 to omega-3 to at least 3:1. And these flax seeds and chia seeds, they have a good ratio of omega-3 fatty acids, and they have lesser of omega-6 fatty acids. That's one advantage. The other advantage is the fiber. Like just taking 2 tablespoons of flax seeds, you get at least 4 to 5 grams of fiber. And the protein, like these seeds are also rich in protein. So the benefit of phytochemicals, antioxidants, fiber, the protective plant protein, and the omega-3. So we could just keep going. I think one of the, if you look at these, there are studies that are published on different health effects of different foods. Apart from turmeric, flax seeds have the most number of published studies in science. There are like hundreds and hundreds of studies that are published in medical journals that documented the benefit of eating flax seeds. Like flax seeds, one research showed that eating flax seeds can actually decrease the number of breast cancer promoting cells. One research showed that like eating flax seeds decreases the risk of getting strokes. You can look this up on nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Greger has done a lot of educational videos on it. So just check nutritionalfacts.org and type in flax seeds and the benefits. You'll get all these interesting ideas.
Yeah. So along those same lines, Agneta is asking, how much flaxseed and chia seed should you eat to get, for example, 2400 milligrams omega-3, including 1160 milligram EPA and 940 milligram DHA? Does it all convert?
Yeah, so the thing is, if you just take in 1 to 2 tablespoons of flax seeds or chia seeds, that you will get all the omega-3s that you need. There is some concern in the nutrition world whether these EPAs and DHAs, do they all convert well into the omega-3s that we need? Actually, one of one of the doctors that we follow and look up to, Dr. Brooke Goldner, she has done a very good video explaining this. Like if you go to Goodbye Lupus, like she has done a good video on how this conversion to the EPAs and DHAs converting into omega-3s, it is so efficient. It is so efficient when you eat plant-based foods. But if you're eating animal-based foods along with the plant-based foods, especially like cheese, butter, chicken, and meats, these foods actually have what is called arachidonic acid. This arachidonic acid, it uses the same enzymes that help in the conversion of these EPA and DHA. So when you don't eat these meats and the dairy products and animal-based foods, when you avoid them, all those enzymes that are working to convert the arachidonic acid, they can simply work on your flax seeds and chia seeds, and you have much more bioavailability to get the omega-3s that you need.
Yeah. So, okay, we have other question. Are hemp hearts good for you? Marianne is asking.
Yeah, hemp hearts are again one of the best foods that you can eat. Hi, Marianne, how are you? Good to see.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Good to hear from you.
Yes,
Amazing, yeah.
yeah, definitely, Marian. Hemp paths are good for you.
Yes, and hemp
So,
hearts have the similar benefits of just like flax seeds and chia seeds. They are very beneficial, and hemp hearts we use them, and they are also rich in protein as well. Like if you're looking for a little bit of extra protein, hemp hearts are great. Chia seeds and flax seeds are great as well.
yeah. So our plants like spinach and others are good source of iron for us as heme iron, which is present in red meat.
So, Patrick, you really, really want to be cautious about getting iron from the animal-based foods because the iron that comes from the animal-based foods, it's more oxidizing. Oxidizing is a process of rusting. Like if you take iron or any steel, like when you see the rust, uh, that is oxidation process. So the more heme iron you take, that from the type of iron that you get from the eating the meat, either the red meat or even the white meat, the more oxidation that happens in the cells. That means the cells are aging faster. Whereas the iron that comes from the uh, plant-based foods, this is less oxidizing. So you get the iron in the ferrous form, whereas the iron that comes from the animal-based foods in the ferric form, more oxidizing. So the plant-based foods iron is less oxidizing. So and also the plant-based foods, they come with a lot of phytochemicals and antioxidants and fiber. All of these decrease the inflammation. So it's better to choose the foods that are coming from the plants if you're looking for iron. And the best foods to get iron from are the beans, lentils, and greens, different kinds of greens, collard greens, mustard greens like kale. I must tell you, like my mom, a few years ago, she was having like problem of low iron, and her doctor was suggesting to go on iron supplements, and she said like give me some time, like maybe a month or two. And I suggested, mom, just take at least a cup of lentils, cooked lentils every day, and a cup of cooked greens every day. Along with that, add a little bit of lemon juice, because the foods, vitamin C rich foods, um, like peppers or oranges or lemon or potatoes, like these are very rich in vitamin C. And the foods that are rich in vitamin C, they help in absorption of the iron more. So my mom did that for a month, and in a month, like her iron levels came to normal range. And this happened with several other Gift of Health family members too. When they started eating more plant-based foods like the whole grains and the beans and lentils and the greens, along with vitamin C rich foods, the iron levels rose up. So you might get this message like, eat red meat to get iron, eat liver to get iron. You don't have to do that, because why take a food which is high in something at the same time that is damaging to your liver and kidneys and your blood vessels? So you're better off staying away from the dead, decaying, rotting meat, and just go with the plants.
Yeah. So, for a person with breast cancer and after surgery, what foods do you recommend for healing and preventing reoccurrence?
uh, there is so much research on it. Thanks for asking this, Ida. Like there's so much research on it. Plant-based foods, whole plant foods like beans, whole grains, and fruits and vegetables. Like especially research shows that if you eat fiber-rich foods, for every 10 grams of fiber, fiber intake you increase, you decrease the risk of getting breast cancer by 7%. It is not only in the initial cancer happening. Research shows that when you eat more fiber on a daily basis and keep away from the animal-based foods, uh, like staying away from dairy products and meat and cheese, butter and oils and processed foods, uh, this kind of eating pattern, like whole food, plant-based eating pattern, fiber-rich foods, it has shown to decrease the risk of the breast cancer coming back. So if you want to decrease the risk of the breast cancer, the key is to eat more fiber-rich whole plant foods. Now we can go on about the mechanisms. Like many people don't realize that when you eat cheese, butter, chicken, meats, what these foods do is they actually increase the level of estrogen. They increase the level of estrogen, which is the female hormone in you. And when the estrogen levels go up in your body, your risk of breast cancer goes up. Whereas when you eat the plant-based foods, when you eat the fiber-rich plant-based foods, what they do is like they actually decrease, like they normalize, optimize the levels of your estrogen. Thereby, they decrease the risk of breast cancer. Another food that you can increase also risk, another food that has shown to decrease the risk of breast cancer is actually soy-based foods. So eating some edamame, whole soybeans, are like minimally processed soy, like tofu or soy milk. Like soy-based foods also have shown to decrease the risk of getting breast cancer. And green tea is helpful. Like research shows that when you take in 3 to 4 cups of green tea a day, that also decreases the risk of breast cancer. So you can get started on that.
Yeah. So when on a whole food plant-based diet, should we take a protein supplement? So Patrick is asking.
You want to answer that?
It's okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So
again, like if you remember from our initial chat, where does protein come from? It's coming from plants, right? So why do you think you need a supplement when you're eating plants? And the other misconception we have is somehow we think that like when we eat this protein, we are just going to store it in our muscles. And our body doesn't have mechanism to store protein. Like it can store glucose, it can store carbohydrate, it can store fat, but it cannot store protein. So our body has to get rid of any excess protein. And it has to work so hard. Like, do you know, like your liver has to work so hard to detoxify the products of protein digestion. They are actually very toxic to the cells. Like when proteins are digested, the end product is like urea and ammonia, which are toxic to cells. So your liver has to work hard to detoxify it. And on top of it, your kidneys, they have to work so hard to detoxify, to get rid of this urea and ammonia, either through urine. So as you can see, like, even if you eat more protein, that is not going to do good. And when we are eating more protein, we are getting more diseases. Like,
especially the animal protein, what we're talking about is animal protein is showing to increase the risk of getting chronic disease, diabetes, more risk of cancers, heart disease, more inflammation, more autoimmune disease, whereas plant protein is showing to decrease the risk of getting these chronic diseases. And there is no need to take protein supplement. There is no reason to take protein. Even if you want to build muscle and exercise, get lean and shredded, just eat quality calories, like from plants, eating more beans, more lentils, more whole grains. You will get all the protein that you need. Where are these animals getting the protein from? Like the chicken, the turkey, beef, and pork. Where are they getting the protein from? They're getting the protein from the animals. Plants. So I'm sorry, they're getting them from the plants. So we don't have to, eat these animals. We can just directly get it from the plants. And we are very good at like extracting these amino acids from the plants, and we could just use them the way we want. Yeah, our body can make.
Yeah. So okay. Okay, what about flax? So I have one pack that says flax and one that says milled brown flax seeds. Are they the same, and which one is better? So when it comes to buying flax seeds, buying them in the whole form is good, because then you have a choice what you want to do with them. And when it comes to using them, especially flax seeds, when you are making into a powder or a flax meal, it gets absorbed better. So if you can consume the flax seeds like after grinding it, it's a good thing. And the thing is, actually, flax seeds, when you grind and just leave it like that, it may go rancid. So it's always a good idea to store them in dark containers away from light, or store them in the fridge.
We
And
typically, once we make the flaxseed powder, we just put it in the fridge, right?
yeah, so put them in the fridge, and they're good to go. Yeah.
Denise is saying you guys need to be teaching doctors plant-based healing foods. Then we should have less sick care. Sounds like a plan, Denise. We'll make you the health minister. Yeah, if we could, if we are more and more educated about plant-based healing, then we'll be spending less and less on the sickness care. Like, one thing that really stuck uh, with us is like when we were going through this health accord report of Newfoundland, we're not doing well. Like in Newfoundland, we are not doing well. Like health wise, we have come, when you compare with all the other provinces, we rank the 10th in terms of cancer, like the amount of cancer we have. 10th being the last position. And we ranked like the 9th position in heart disease.
It's not the last position, it's the worst position.
Yes, yeah.
Because people might think, okay, we are good, we are not number one, but we are last.
Yeah.
No.
So it's being the, like,
The
we are
worst.
yeah, we have the highest number of cancer, we have the highest number of heart disease and strokes compared to other provinces. We also have the highest number of obesity, we have the highest number of alcoholism, we have the highest number of like a sedentary lifestyle. uh, and we're spending a lot. Like we're also spending more than other provinces. Like per person in our province, Newfoundland, we are spending about $6,000, more than $6,000 per person per healthcare. Despite spending more, we are not doing well. Like our outcomes, the health outcomes are not so good. That is mostly because of the lifestyle choices that we're making. Like so as a province, we got to do better. Like eating more whole foods, more. You know, we understand that if you don't know us, if you're listening to us for the first time, you may be thinking, why are we saying go plant based, and like 100, do I have to do 100% plant based? It depends upon your situation. Like, if you're on the sidelines and if you're unsure, even doing 50%, 60%, 70% plant based is better than eating standard like a Newfoundland diet. If you just eat like everyone else around you, you're gonna get the diseases that everyone else around you have. Just look around and see how many of our friends and family members in Newfoundland are obese, are overweight, have some form of chronic disease like diabetes or high cholesterol or heart disease, or had a stroke or some kind of cancers. Like, these diseases are so rampant, and we are not doing so well. But this can be changed. The good news is this can be changed the moment you decide, you know what, I'm going to take some steps to improve my health. The help is there. Like, we are here, and every 6 weeks, I mean, not every 6 weeks, every 2 months, we are starting a 6-week program where we are showing people just like you to eat more healthier, to reverse chronic disease, to get rid of medications and lose weight, keep it off. And we just finished a 6-week program yesterday, and the graduates of the 6-week program, the Gift of Health Food as Medicine program, it's just amazing. Like, many of them have lost weight. Some of them have come off of the medications that we were taking for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and they were taking these medications for over 10, 15 years, and they were able to come off of them within just 6 weeks. So,
but the most amazing thing is, just like you, their favorite food was eating chicken, fish, meat, egg, dairy, and they thought that is the most difficult thing for them to give up. But in 6 weeks,
their palate changed.
Yeah, not only they tried new plant-based foods, but they were actually able to give up the foods that was damaging their health. So that is amazing. So
Sybil says there are lots of questions, but only one answer: plant foods.
you you got it. So okay, Sybil is asking, like, I got the ground flax seeds, so is it okay if I just keep it in the fridge? Yes, Sybil. So sometimes you may not get the whole flax seeds, and if you're buying in the form of already grounded form or flaxseed meal, it's okay. That's not the end of the world, and definitely you can store in the fridge. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have our next 6-week program coming up in April, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So no, we invite you to join us for the next 6-week program. This is the best gift you can give for yourself, like the gift of health. No matter what kind of job you're in and how much money you make, who you surround yourself with, if you don't have health, you can't enjoy any of them, right? So it's uh, take a stand for your health, and every day do the self-care. And here we are here to support you all along the way. uh, Sometimes yes, you could do some of these things on your own, but you know we can show you how to shortcut and how to get to your health goals in a much faster way. And we have done this again and again with hundreds and hundreds of Gift of Health family members.
Yeah. So we have one more question asking, what about sweeteners? Are they better than eating sugar?
Well, first of all, let's start with sugar. Like, what is the problem with the sugar? Like in general, like uh, the more sugar you eat, especially the processed sugar. When we say sugar, we're not talking about the sugar that is coming from the fruit. The sugar that is coming from the fruit is coming in the whole natural form. Now, fruits are healthy for you. What we're talking about is the processed sugars, like the processed sugars. It could be white sugar, or like the maple syrup, or any of these like processed sugars. You want to limit them as much as you can, because these sugars, they increase inflammation. So our suggestion is to limit these sugars to at least 3 to 4 teaspoons, not more than that, per day, per person. So it's very important. Otherwise, there are a lot of health hazards with the intake of sugar. And sugar is also very addictive. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. On those lines of addiction, the problem with artificial sweeteners is they will keep on that addiction cycle with you with sugar. People who use these artificial sweeteners like stevia, or any like natural sweeteners or artificial sweeteners, these processed sweeteners, they keep you stuck. And the sugar addiction goes on, the sugar cravings go on. And some research actually shows that these artificial sweeteners, they can elevate your insulin levels as well. Which is not a good thing, because you want your insulin level to be optimal. Like if your insulin levels are high, that promotes the deposition of fat. And it also, high insulin levels on a chronic basis, it can increase the risk of cancers as well. So you want to keep your insulin levels optimal. You don't want to indulge in behaviors that increase the insulin levels. Other problem with artificial sweeteners is that like
Even the gut
yeah,
microbiome.
your gut bacteria don't like it. The artificial sweeteners have shown to disrupt your gut microbiome and cause more bloating, more diarrhea in some people as well. So there are many health reasons. We can keep going on for that, but it's better to go for the natural sweeteners, like use more fruit, or if you need to sweeten some things, use dates or raisins or figs. Like when we make desserts, like we make date paste. We have a recipe for that on the Gift of Health site.
Date paste.
Date paste. Okay, yeah, it's very easy to make. Just a cup of soaked dates, and we typically use medjool dates, and you blend it with a cup of water. Give it a good blend in a powerful blender, and you can store that in your fridge for at least a week. It tastes like caramel paste. It's so delicious.
Yeah. And let's say even if you have to use regular sugar, just limit it to 3 to 4 teaspoons. Yeah.
Hope is saying 11 pounds lost. Yeah. Hope she just did the last 6 week course. She said I was eating so much meat, my liver and kidneys are happier. Now I don't crave anything now, and I can eat sweet potatoes again. I can't thank you enough. Oh, Hope, thank you so much for sharing that. We are so happy for you. Excellent. Well, we had a lovely evening with every one of you. Thank you, Sadie. We loved spending this time with you as well. So, if you have any more nutrition related questions or lifestyle related questions, feel free to share with us in this comments. We might get to it in the next week or the following week. So keep the questions coming. We are here for you. Any health related questions, we'll be happy to answer. And if you want our help to get you to your health goals quicker, without second guessing yourself, the Gift of Health, the Food as Medicine program is for you. And you can also go to our website. We do one-on-one consults as well to streamline your health. Like as I'm saying this, I see a comment from Connie. I can't thank you both. I can't thank both of you enough. I am off blood pressure medications after 20 years. Amazing, Connie. So we're so happy for you. Hey, Marianne, keep up the good work. Marianne is like, it's just amazing. Good,
Yeah.
good. Well, we'll see you next week. We will say adios, good night, good evening. Bye, everyone.